الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا اللهم بما علمتنا وزدنا اللهم علما وعملا إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. أما بعد، هذا هو درس الدرس السادس في شرح كتاب الصيام من بلوغ المرام للحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله وغفر الله لنا وله. وقفنا عند الكلام عن الوصال ما حكمه وما إلى ذلك. So this is just to remind anyone who's listening on Mixler, if there is anyone, then just a reminder that the class has been moved to YouTube. So just go to the Google Dr.Qaisar Cheema YouTube, and you'll come straight to the page, and this is easier this way, inshallah, from now on. But I'm just playing the Mixler just for the sake of anyone who didn't get the message. So we're in the Bulugh Al-Maram, book of fasting, and we reached the 6th class now. We're talking about the matters related to continuous fasting. What is the ruling? Because there is some hadith regarding this matter. فالوصال يعني أولا الحديث عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الوصال فقال رجل من المسلمين فإنك يا رسول الله تواصل فقال وأيكم مثلي وفي رواية قال إني لست كهيئتكم إني أبيت يطعمني ربي ويسقيني فلما أبوا أن ينتهوا عن الوصال واصل بهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوما ثم يوما ثم رأوا الهلال هلال شوال فقال لو تأخر لزدتكم. قال الراوي كالمنكل لهم حين أبوا أن ينتهوا. متفق عليه. الوصال معناه يعني أن تصل شيئا بشيء، وهنا شرعا أن تصل يوم الصيام بيوم آخر بيوم التالي، فهو عبارة عن صيام 39 ساعة. إن الإنسان يبدأ بالسحور ثم يأتي السحور الثاني ثم يأتي الإفطار. أولا لا يفطر، السحور التالي لا يفطر، إنما يفطر في الإفطار الثاني. معناه مر عليه يوم ونصف 39 ساعة. وهذا النوع وهذه الصفة من الوصال منهي عنه. في خلاف هل هو للكراهة أم للتحريم، لكن يأتي إن شاء الله أن الراجح أنه للتحريم، لأن قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث نهى، والنهي للتحريم. So here the matter of continuous fasting, this means that a person connects one day with the second day, as the Prophet ﷺ did. And some of the Sahaba, they did a form of that, or they tried to imitate his fasting, and then a hadith came. That was from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh, that the Prophet ﷺ forbade from this type of fasting. So a man from the Muslims, he said, but O Rasulullah, you do that. You do that. So he said, but I am not like you. Who of you is like me? And how? In that, he explained, in that when I sleep, my Lord gives me food and drink. I mean, this is only for me. This is peculiar, min khususiyya, for me only. That when I'm sleeping at night, I get food and drink. What does that mean? We'll explain. And then the Sahaba, they thought he was just trying to be gentle with them and not have anything difficulty for them. So they continued to do that, what they wanted to do with the continuous fast. So the Prophet ﷺ continued with them for a day or 2 days, a day and then another day. Then they saw the hilal for Shawwal. And then he told them, now everyone has to stop fasting, of course. So So they stopped. But he said, if the hilal would have been delayed, I would have continued with you. It's a kind of a training to give them a lesson in a way. So that's what the narrator said. It was as if he was teaching them a lesson by continuing to fast with them. So fasting a day with the next, this means like fasting for 36 hours basically, because you're going to start like this morning. Someone did it, sahur, then iftar, he would not break his fast. Then he would go to the sahur tomorrow. This would be 24 hours. You continue even after that to another 12 hours to the iftar, roughly, another 12 hours roughly. So it's roughly, yani, you could say 36 hours, but not exactly, a day and a half. So the point is that this prohibition came to do this. But then one of the Sahaba said, "But you do it." قال لكن رسول الله أنت تواصل لأن الإشكال عنده أن النبي قدوتنا فكيف هو يعمل شيء ثم ينهي عنه. وهذا إشكال وارد. ما قال ذلك يعني تنطعا، ما قاله يعني اعتراضا على نهي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، حاشا. الصحابة أسرع الناس امتثالا، إنما قال ذلك تطلبا للسبب، للتفقه بأي سبب كون النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يواصل وينهى عنه. And so when the Sahabi said, "Oh Rasulullah, but you do so," he wasn't trying to object. The Sahaba don't object to anything. He was just trying to understand, because typically when he sallallahu alaihi wasallam does something, we are to imitate him. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. As Allah said, you have a good example in the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the fact that he's doing it and he's telling us not to imitate him is a question mark now, naturally, and we'll see why. So here, نعم فقال أيكم مثلي، وفي رواية قال إني لست كهيئتكم إني أبيت ويطعمني ربي ويسقيني. المبيت، البيتوتة، نوم الليل. يعني في هذه الفترة ما هو الليل محل الأكل والشرب للصائم، لكن أنا في هذه الفترة أنا يطعمني ربي ويسقيني، وأنا صائم، وأنا حال صيامي لأني واصل. فما معنى أن الله يطعمه ويسقيه؟ لا يمكن أن يحمل على الطعام إطعام الحسي، لأنه لو أنه أطعمه الله طعاما حسيا أو شرابا حسيا لما يعد صائما، لما يقال أنه مواصل، يقال أنه أفطر. فمعناه أن الله يطعمه ويسقيه روحيا، أي قلبا، يطعم ويسقي قلبه بماذا؟ بذكر الله والأنس بمناجاة الله سبحانه وتعالى. وحتى أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم استغنى بهذا الذكر عن حاجته إلى الطعام والشراب. يعني هو مشغول، انشغل تماما، ما يأتيه يعني ما يلتفت إلى حاجته إلى الطعام والشراب، لأنه مشغول بمحبوبه سبحانه وتعالى. وهذا حاصل حتى إنسان لو عنده شغل شاغل، يعني شيء يعني طرأ عليه وهو مشغول دائم يعني تماما، ثم يأتي وقت الغداء ما بده يستمر بالشغل، يأتي وقت العشاء يوم ما بده، هو مشغول، ما عندي وقت. يعني طبعا هذا يعني ما أحد يستطيع أن يداني ما كان حال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مع ربه، لكن هذا كمثال يقرب ما هو كان عليه الصلاة والسلام. نعم، فهو بمعنى الاستغناء والانشغال عن حاجة الغذاء الحسي، الانشغال بالغذاء القلبي عن الحاجة للغذاء الحسي. هذا معنى. So what does it mean? First of all, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he explained the reason why he can do it, but it's not for them. Specific worship. Just like the Prophet ﷺ was allowed to marry more than 4 wives, but it's only for him. This is one of those rare exceptions where it's only for him ﷺ and not for his ummah. So he said, I am not like you. When I am at the night and we're all sleeping, my Lord is feeding me and giving me drink. So what does it mean? He's feeding me and giving me drink. It cannot mean physically that he's giving physical nourishment in his stomach, because if that was the case, he would not be called a fasting person. He could not be continuing fasting or fasting at all if he's getting nutrition physically. So it must mean that he's getting spiritual nutrition. Spiritual nutrition from what? From his nearness to Allah, from his remembering Allah, dhikr of Allah, from his his secret his private counsel, speaking with Allah. All that, this is busying him and is giving him sustenance. It's giving him such that he is satisfied with that and he's busy with that from the physical need. He has physical need, of course. He got hungry just like anyone else, but he's so busy with his Lord that cannot be bothered by the physical needs. He doesn't pay attention. This is the meaning. And this happens to someone, not to that extent, but if he's like in a job or something and there's a deadline, and he's very involved in his work, he's going to go hours and he'll skip lunch, maybe skip dinner. He doesn't mind because he wants to finish what he's involved in. So this is that part of the hadith. ثم قال فلما أبوا أي الصحابة الذين كانوا يواصلون معه صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني كانوا يريدون الوصال يعني أبوا هذا كان في رمضان أبوا أن ينتهوا يعني أرادوا الاستمرار على الوصال. وهذا يعني الإباء منهم ليس إعراضا وليس يعني ردا أو رفضا لنهي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. حاشا، الصحابة ما كانوا على ذلك، إنما أبوا لظنهم أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهاهم شفقة بهم حتى لا يتعبوا، وفعلا تعبوا، لكن فهموا أن هذا ليس إيجابا وليس إلزاما عليهم، إنما من باب الإرشاد نهاهم. هذا فهمه. لكن هذا الفهم خاطئ. فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين لهم بأنه واصل معهم، يعني شاركهم في الوصال يوما ثم يوما، ثم رأوا الهلال، هلال شوال، فقال لو تأخر الهلال واستمرنا في رمضان لزدتكم يوم ثالث أو رابع أو خامس، يعني حتى يفهموا يعني أي صح، يعني لأن إنسان لو يفهم الحكمة بنفسه يكون أبلغ وأرسخ في الذهن، بدلا من يعني أن تقول لولدك يعني لا تفعل، خليه يجرب ويسقط ويفهم بعدين، يعني دون أن نكلمه. فقال هكذا قال الراوي كالمنكل لهم حين أبوا أن ينتهوا. منكل، ما معنى منكل؟ تنكيل بمعنى أن الإنسان يفعل ما يدعوه الآخر إلى الترك، ينكله أي يخليه يترك ما هو عليه، لأن النكول هما بمعنى الترك. أراد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يترك هذا صلى الله عليه وسلم، لكن بأسلوب طيب هذا. What happened when he explained to them why his situation is different, the Sahaba still they wanted to continue. Why? Because they had high aspiration. They really wanted to do like him. They would love to be like him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But they did not reject his order. When he prohibited them, he said, "Don't do this. What I'm doing." When they continued, it doesn't mean they objected to his prohibition. No, they just made like a understanding. The understanding, he only told us not to do it out of mercy for us. He did not want us to be tired and become, worn out, but we can handle it. It's okay. We can handle it. It's not out of disrespect what they did. No, we should not think that. But they did anyways. They continued. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said he did with them like as they did. So they went one, then second day. Then they saw the hilal for Shawwal. Eid came now. Ramadan is over. But he told them, if we didn't see the hilal, I would have gone the third or fourth more days with you. So the Rawi, the narrator, said this is out of training, out of teaching them a lesson. Because, it's like if you tell your child, don't do something, that's one thing. He may or may not get the lesson. But if you let him try and you observe from a distance and you know he's going to fail, you let him try because you know he's going to fail. Then he falls down and he realizes his mistake on his own, and now he's not going to do it again because he learned. This is a way of training. So this is why he went with them. يعني لا يفهم من مواصلة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم معهم إقرارهم على الفعل. لا يفهم هذا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقرهم. كيف ينهاهم ثم يقرهم؟ هذا تناقض. إنما فعل ذلك لمصلحة الانتهاء، لما يؤول إليه الأمر، يعني يرى المصلحة. فجعلهم يعني يتدربوا على هذا الأمر لما سيؤول إليه الأمر وهو الترك. فراعى المصالح، ليس أنه تركهم يواصلون من باب الإقرار أن هذا جائز. لا يفهم هذا بل هذا التنكيل أيضا من نوع العقوبة. التنكيل معناه باللغة العربية على شيء خطأ، على شيء مخطئ. إنسان يعني مثلا يعصي فينكل من باب العقوبة. لا يفهم الراوي يفهم المعنى ما كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعمل فقال كالمنكل عليهم. والتنكيل باللغة العربية على عقوبة لابد، فمعناه أنهم كانوا خاطئين على ما فهموا. So some people, some scholars, I just mentioned this, some scholars think it's just a dislike, يعني مكروه to do wisal. They are his opinion. But the text of the hadith indicates no, it's haram. It's haram to do this 36 a day and a half fast for several reasons. First, there's a prohibition in the beginning of the hadith. He said he prohibited. Then the narrator said he went along with them, because this is where some people misunderstand. When he went along with them and let them go ahead and learn their lesson. So some people think because he went along with them and let them, that means that it's a agreement with their action. No, it's not. It's like we said, it's a training. Two, because he knows in the end they'll understand, and that's what he's aiming for, the final goal. He's looking at the further aim, not the process of learning. So and the wording used is a lesson, and the lesson is brought upon a mistake. You don't bring a lesson if someone is doing something right? So this is why the scholars say it's haram, some of them. نعم. وهذا هو الراجح. وأما يعني النوع، هناك نوع من الوصال ذكرناه أمس، وهو الوصال من السحور إلى السحور، لأنه جاء في رواية أن ذكرناه أمس أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: وإن كان ولا بد. يعني بعض الصحابة يعني أرادوا من هذه الفضيلة يشاركوا فيه، فلما نهاهم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم النهي البتة عن الوصال أكثر من يوم، أباح لهم الوصال بيوم كامل، لكن بشرط أنهم لا يتركوا السحور. فقال: إن كان لابد فمن السحور إلى السحور، يعني من سحور اليوم إلى سحور الغد. معناه أنهم لا يفطرون في المغرب، فهذا جائز. فما يقال أنه سنة، لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شجع بالإفطار والتأجيل فيه حتى، فإنسان هذا جائز ولكن ليس مرغوب فيه. المرغوب هو في تعجيل الفطر كما مر علينا. So here, there's a specific type of this continuous fasting though. We said the one that's more than a day, like 36 hours, a day and a half, this has been prohibited. It's too much. Why is it prohibited? In the deen yusr, a deen yusr, because the religion is easiness, and this is bringing a lot of difficulty upon an individual, and only the Prophet ﷺ can bear. Because why? He is so much busy with his dhikr to that extent that he can bear it. He can bear it, but no, we can't. So, but some of the Sahaba, they still wanted to do a form of this continuous. So the permissible one, which is in the authentic narration, is that from the suhoor to the suhoor, he allowed this. So suhoor this morning, if a person wants to skip iftar, he wants to. It's not something we recommend. But if he wants to continue and skip to all the way to suhoor, this is a type of wisal which is allowed. It's a type which is allowed, but this was not the common practice of the Sahaba. We know this. This is not the common practice, but it's something that's permissible because there are some things which in the religion are permissible. Like for example, يعني التصدق عن الوالدين اللذين ماتا هذا جائز. إنسان يتصدق ويعني يهدي لهم الأجر، هذا ليس ما يقال أنه سنة، يقال أنه جائز. إنسان يرغب في ذلك فلا نمنعه، لا بأس اعمل، ولكن لا تظن أنه سنة. يعني هذا من الإقرار، بمعنى الإقرار على الفعل ما يدل على إباحته لا على سنيته. We've mentioned this before, that sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would agree with the action, not to indicate that it's sunnah, but to indicate that it's allowed. Like a person who came and said, my mother died, and I think if she would have lived, she would have wanted to give charity. So can I give charity on her behalf after she died? So the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, you can. But when he said, yes, you can, did he mean it's a sunnah? No, it just means it's okay. You can. You're not sinful. It's not a bid'ah. It's not a sin. It's allowed. And the reward will go to her. But this is not something we encourage. He didn't encourage. He didn't say like a statement on his own encouraging. If he said, something that I encourage you to give charity for your dead parents, this is different. This is an agreement with a person's desire. He agreed. It's allowed. So because what did he say? What did he say we should do for the dead parents? Make dua for them. إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث ومنها ولد صالح يدعو له. So what do we do? The best thing we can do, make dua, do good deeds ourselves, and the reward automatically goes to the parents. Everything good we do, if our parents, guided us to that, they get the reward. So, and also we make dua for them. This is what we should do. So, not giving charity on their behalf. This is not something which is encouraged, but it's allowed. So, anyways, that's the chapter. أيضا يستفاد من هذا الحديث مسألة يعني أنه ما ثبت في حق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قولا أو فعلا فهو ثابت في حق الأمة إلا بدليل. يعني ما يفعله النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فلنا أن نقتدي به بهذا الفعل أو بهذا القول. هذا هو الأصل. وهذا من أين أخذنا هذا من الحديث؟ من قول هذا الصحابي، قوله ولكنك تواصل يا رسول الله. هذا هو الأصل عند الصحابة. ما فعل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فهو تشريع لنا عام، وما تركه فهو تشريع لنا عام. يعني الأصل عدم الخصوصية عند الصحابة إلا ما يدل عليه دليل. وهنا دل عليه دليل. Also we benefit from this hadith the matter of specificness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Restricted things only for him. This is one of them, as we said. But we also understand that the origin in our religion is there's no restriction. Whatever he did is for us to do. Whatever he said in religion is for us to say. This is the origin. Allah said, indeed, in the Messenger of Allah, you have a good example. So he is our role model in everything, except that which excludes. So the origin, though, is we do everything he did. Where do you get that from this hadith? When the Prophet ﷺ forbade to make wisal, he said, what you do. Yeah. So he understood that what you do, we do. This is the origin. Until he explained, no, I'm different. When he explained I'm different, now we know okay, this is just for him. It's not for us. So this is, inshallah, that's on that hadith for that matter. ثم ندخل في كما قلنا سنتحدث إن شاء الله عن مفطرات الصوم في بقية هذا الدرس مستعينا بالله سبحانه وتعالى. أصول المفطرات الثلاثة: الأكل والشرب والجماع. الأكل والشرب والجماع. ونضيف إلى ذلك ما هو بمعنى الأكل والشرب. ما هو بمعنى الأكل والشرب، يعني ما يقوم مقامهما، مثل ماذا؟ المغذية، أي شيء يحصل به الاستغناء عن الأكل والشرب. إنسان قد يعني يركب له إبر مغذية يظل عليه شهور، يعني هو في معنى الأكل والشرب، يستغني بذلك، وهو له حكم الأكل والشرب، لكن بشرط التغذية، يعني بشرط أنه بمعنى الأكل والشرب. إنسان قد يأخذ إبر دواء، هذا الدواء ما هو بمعنى وما يغنيه عن الأكل والشرب. دواء ولو في بعض العلماء يقول ولو يؤدي نوعا من التنشيط كإبر فيتامين ينشط إنسان، لكن ما أدري يعني هل يصل إلى حد أنه يستغني بهذا عن الأكل والشرب وقد يظل عليه مدة. ما أظن هذه الإبر الفيتامينات، ما أظن، لكن يعني إنسان يعني يحتاط لدينه وتركه يعني يعني لعله أحوط، ولكن لا شك في الإبر المغذية، هذا بمعنى الأكل والشرب بلا شك. وأما الإبر الدواء بلا شك لا يفطر. إبر الدواء في عضلة، ولو في جلد، ولو في الورد أو الوريد، ما دام أنه للدواء، مثل الإنسولين في الجلد، ولا في بنسلين في الوريد أو في الجلد، كل هذا ما يفطر، لأنه ما هو بمعنى الأكل والشرب. هذا هو قول أهل العلم في هذا. وما هو معنى ما هو الأكل؟ الأكل أن الإيصال للمعدة، أن إنسان يتناول شيئا إما من الفم أو من الأنف ويصل إلى المعدة، هذا هو معنى الأكل والشرب. أما أنه يصل طعم الشيء إلى الحلق فهذا ليس بمعنى الأكل، هذا لا يدخل في الأكل. نقول ذلك لأن الشيء just say first of all, the things that break the fast are the origins of them are three: the food, the drink, and the relations with the spouse. These are the three. And when we say food and drink, this means that which goes to the stomach. It has to go to the stomach. Okay, this is what food means. Okay, and it has to come. And what goes to the stomach? It has to come from one of two places, either the mouth or the nose. These are the only two places that count to be considered food or drink. These are the only two entrances. يعني هناك عندنا منفذان للمعدة، الأنف والفم. We only have two entrances to the stomach, the nose and the mouth. Okay, and we'll come to that later. What about the ear and the eye? We'll come to that. So first of all, we'll establish the base. This is what is the base. Now, what counts as food and drink, even if it doesn't come from the mouth or the nose, it does not even go to the stomach, but it takes the place and is a replacement of food and drink, also breaks one's fast because it provides nourishment. What would that be? Like a IV injection, fluid. This is like water. It's going directly to the blood, okay, to the veins. Or even, sometimes you can put sugar. Yeah, sugar is a food. You can put sugar into the vein or in other avenues. If it is like, has the meaning, and rather we could say more clearly, if it satisfies a person, like food and drink, and a person can remain upon this substitute for months, even, or even a period of time, even a day. he can remain satisfied, not having need for food and drink, then this breaks one's fast. Okay, so that would include such injections, but it would not include medicines, injectable medicine. A medicine by mouth breaks one's fast because the origin is يعني قد نقول أي شيء دخل على المعدة يفطر وإن لم يعني يحصل به التغذية، وإن لم يحصل الإنسان به تغذية. مثلا إنسان يبلع ملح، يعني هذا ما بيفيده بل يضره يوم صومه، يجعله يعطش أكثر، لكن يفطر لأنه إيش؟ المناط بما مناط الحكم ما يدخل إلى المعدة، وإن لم يفيد الإنسان بالتغذية. وأيضا الجانب الآخر ما يغذي يفطر وإن لم يدخل بالمعدة. الطرف الآخر. So we can say in two ways. We can say anything that goes in the mouth and the nose and reaches the stomach, it breaks one's fast, even if a person does not gain nourishment from it. That's not. As long as it goes from it breaks your fast. Like, for example, a person eats salt. He does not going to gain nourishment. Rather, it's going to make his fast harder. Okay, make him more thirsty. It's not really nourishment. So, all in the opposite of the spectrum, anything that gives nourishment, even if it doesn't come in to the stomach, breaks one's fast. Either this or that. So that comprises all what we've mentioned. That which does not come from the stomach to the stomach, but it gives nourishment, the injections, and anything that comes in the mouth and nose breaks one's fast. Okay, so that's the origin. أيضا يلحق بالطعام والشراب ما له جرم. أي شيء له جرم، يعني مثل ماذا؟ مثل البخور. البخور يعني عبارة عن ماء، يعني ولكن له جرم تراه، وهذا الجرم لما إنسان يستنشقه في أنفه أو في فمه يمصه، هذا ينزل للمعدة جزء منه فيفطر إنسان به. يدخل في ذلك البخور الذي يستعمل للطيب، لأنه له جرم. هذا الدخان، أقصد الدخان جرم، يعني هذه مادة. وهذا لما إنسان ليس مجرد الرائحة يصل له، لا، هذا ما يفطر. إنسان يعني يشم. الشم ما هو؟ الإبرة ليس بالشم، الإبرة بالاستنشاق، بالإدخال، بالقوة، بالتعمد إدخاله، هذا يوصل هذا الجرم إلى الجوف ويفطره إنسان. هكذا قال أهل العلم. ويعني لأنه لا يصل بمجرد الشم، لا، الشم عادي. إنسان قد يكون في غرفة في بخار في بخور، يعني في طيب، في دخان في الجو، يعني لكن هو ما يتقصد إدخاله، ما بيأثر. هذا اليسير ما بيأثر، ما يبطل صومه. الذي يبطل صومه أن يتعمد استنشاقه وإدخاله وإيصاله في داخله. طيب،
مشكل في مثلا واحد صائم يشتغل مع واحد يدخن دخان أو يشوي لحم مثلا، وتعرف أنه هذا يخلق دخان كثير، فأنت ملزم تستنشقه. هل هذا يعتبر مفطر لهذا الشخص الذي لا ينوي ولا يتعمد كذلك؟
أظن أنه يلحق حتى دخان إنسان يستنشق، أكيد هذا بمثابة يعني أي جرم، هذا له دخان. بل يقول يعني قبل ذلك نقول ماذا يقال عن الدخان الذي لو إنسان ناقش؟ لا، هذا ليس بمفطر، ليس أكل وما يفيدني طعاما، كيف يقول يعني مفطر؟ نقول له ماذا تقول؟ هل تقول أنه هو آخذ دخان ولا تقول هو شارب دخان؟ شارب، يعني هو بمثابة بمعنى شرب أولا. فهذا هو الأصل، أنه مواد دخان هذا يصل إلى الجوف ويفطر، لأنه يشربه إنسان، فهو مفطر بلا شك، لكن بشرط الاستنشاق. أما كونه حوالي إنسان وهو يشم شما، هذا ما بيفطر، هذا ما يفطر ويضر إنسان، لا شك يضره، لكن ما يصل إلى حد الإفطار التفطير. ليش؟ لأنه لم يتعمد إدخاله. إنسان الله لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. يعني لو قلنا هذا أي إنسان يشتغل في مكان يعني ما يستطيع ذلك يكون عليه مشقة. العبرة بالاستنشاق. وأخذنا هذا يعني من أن له يعني جرم، وأيضا من حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بالنسبة للأنف قال يعني بالغ في الاستنشاق ما لم تكن صائما. هذا هو الأصل. أخذ هذا الحكم أهل العلم من هذا الحديث. الاستنشاق هو الذي يوصل أو قد يوصل الماء من الأنف وينزل بدون أن يشعر الإنسان إلى جوفه، وإذا تعمد ذلك المبالغة فقد أفطر يعني وعليه القضاء. So here, if a person يعني what do we say? Yeah, food and drink. Why food and drink? Because it goes to the stomach. So that means anything that goes to the stomach that has a substance that you can see, and you purposely take it in, it breaks one's fast, even if it doesn't give nourishment. The issue with the food and the mouth and nose is not the nourishment. The issue is it goes into the stomach. I mean, the reason could be because it provides some some comfort. When your stomach is full, it provides some comfort. There's a nervous system that provides when the stomach is full. Like, when a person, like the Prophet ﷺ, when they were in the Khandaq, what did they do? They put the stones on the stomach, right? Why? To curb the hunger. Because when you compress the stomach, you decrease that space, whether with food internally or from the outside, it relieves some of the hunger. So this is why, could be, Allahu Alam, what's the reason why food and drink breaks one's fast? Because it provides some relief, even if it's not really going to nourish him. Okay. So what is connected with that is taking in smoke, because smoke is something we see. So like smoking cigarettes, it's not because it gives nourishment. That's not the reason. But they say it takes in, if the person intentionally smokes, puts it on his lips and sucks it in, he broke his fast. If he likewise goes to the bakhur, the scent, where it has a smoke, and he goes up and purposely sucks in the smoke, he's taken something into his stomach and he broke his fast. Likewise, steam, if he goes up like the vape, what we do now, the steam rub, if it's in the room, the smoke, that's not the issue. That you smell the fragrance, that doesn't break your fast. It's the process of inhaling and trying to take it in with strength purposely, then a portion of it go to the stomach. There's no way out of it. So this is why they say that it breaks the fast. Yes, not that if it's in the room. Yes, and the proof for this, why Prophet ﷺ said, the one of you should be being exaggerating in the wudu, in the nose regularly, but not on the fasting person. He said the fasting person don't do it. Why? Because if it goes in the nose and you inhale something strongly in the nose, it will slip down past the throat into the stomach, and that's what would break his fast. So we're prohibited from doing that in the fasting day. So this is what relates to the food and the drink and some other details. Now, قلنا الأكل والشرب يدخلان على المعدة من منفذين، الأنف والفم. كيف بالعين والأذن؟ لا، ما يعتبران منفذين للمعدة. وإن حصل نوع من الطعم في خلف الحلق، لما يجعل الإنسان قطرات عين، نعم يشعر بشيء في حلقه، لكن هذا لا عبرة له. هذا ما يفطر. حتى إنسان يقال لو وطئ على حنظلة نوع من نبات، نوع من نبات يعني هو مر جدا، لكن لو إنسان وطئ يعني دس عليه بقدمه لأحس بطعمه في حلقه. هذا شيء مجرب. ولو يعني معروف لو إنسان حط بعض المواد على باطن قدمه يشعر به في حلقه، هل هذا يفطر؟ لا أبدا، هذا شيء ما يدخل في الإفطار أبدا. فالإبرة ليس بما يطعمه الإنسان في حلقه، وإنما الإبرة بالإيصال إلى المعدة، ما يصل ويتجاوز الحلق إلى المعدة. So here, what about the eardrops, or the nose drops? I'm sorry, not the eye drops. The nose drops break the fast. The eardrops and the eye drops, they do not break the fast because these are not entrances to the stomach. No. Although a person may get a slight taste in the back of his throat. When you do eye drops, you get the taste, right? In the back of the throat. This is not a problem. This does not break one's fast because there's nowhere in the legislation that says that the ruling revolves around the taste in the back of the throat. This is not the issue. Such that we know there's a type of fruit called, or like a fruit, yeah, it's a fruit, yeah, فاكهة. حنظلة من الفواكه. It's called bitter melon or gourd, something like gourd. It's a fruit, very bitter. If a person puts it though on the bottom of his foot, he steps on it, he will feel the taste in the back of his throat. Of course, this is a taste which does not break his fast because he did not take anything into his stomach. So the issue revolves around that which goes to the stomach, not that with the taste he has in the back of the throat, which comes from a different other than the mouth and the nose. I'm saying you could get that taste from the feet, from the ear, from the eyes. Pay no attention; it doesn't break one's fast. So what does break one's fast? Nose drops. لأنه دخل من منفذ ثابت because it comes from a established window to the stomach, which is the nose, and it has drops. It's a fluid, it's a fluid, so it's like a water. What about asthma spray? بخاخ بخاخ ربو هل يفطر؟ قال أهل العلم أنه الماء لا يفطر لأنه مجرد عبارة عن هواء، وهذا المواد يعني يدخل يعني، ولكن ما قد يحصل نوع من الطعم في الحلق، ولكن ما يدخل يعني في المعدة مواد يؤثر.
وليس هواء فقط، هو هواء مخلوط مع سائل. الفانتولين مثلا، الفانتولين is a solution mixed with gas. So when you press on it, it's spray. And you have to
يعني هو نعم هو
sure.
صح، هو هواء مع يعني مواد أخرى، لكن يعني كما يقال يعني الشاذ ما يحكم له، الشيء النادر يعني اليسير معفو عنه، لأنه هذه نسبة يسيرة في هذا الدواء. لو كان شيء مثلا لما نبخه نراه لكن ما يظل، ما هو زي دخان الذي له جرم. أقصد إذا له جرم هذا البخاخ ويظل في الجو وأنت تظل تنشقه، فرجعنا إلى مسألة استنشاق جرم. لكن الذي نلاحظ أن هذا البخاخ اليدوي ما يبخ يعني جرما، إنما يبخ هواء مخلوط بمواد أخرى، فهذا يسير إن شاء الله. وأما الجهاز يعني ما أدري الذي فيه سوائل وبخار، يعني إذا نبيولايزر، لو في بخار وتراه بعينك فهذا لا يجوز استنشاقه. طيب، so we have to make a difference between that which has a physical form of smoke or steam that we preceded that it would break one's fast if it has a physical thing measure. If it does not, and it's more like air mixed, even if it's mixed with other elements, maybe some fluid, a little bit, like the aerosol spray for asthma. This spray, it does have, or things in it, of course, but mostly it's air. Because why we say that? Because when you spray it, it doesn't have a gas that, a smoke that remains. Very brief, and it dissipates. It's not like a person smoking, you see it. It stays for a while, right? The person is steam, you see it. It's in the room. Bakhur, you see, it's in the room. These things, a person is not allowed to go up to it and inhale it. This is what the scholars say about the in asthma inhaler. This is because this is a common question. طيب الآن ندخل في نعم بعض المسائل المتفرعة عن الأصول. Some things we're going to mention quickly about commonly asked that we didn't mention yet. نعم الدواء أي شيء له علاج ولو عن طريق إبر ما يفطر. وأما يعني غسيل الكلى هذا وارد. غسيل الكلى المشكلة أن هو عبارة عن خروج الدم من عند المريض ثم تغسيله ثم إرجاع الدم إلى المريض، لكن بإضافة جلوكوز وسوائل ويعني مواد كيماوية والأملاح أيضا. وكل هذه المواد منها ما يدخل في التغذية، فكل العبرة بالتغذية. فهو يتغذى به فيفطره، وهو معذور، إنسان معذور يحتاجه، فهو مريض. فالمريض كما سيأتي له أن يفطر. وإذا كان المرض مرض مزمن يعني ما له علاج فيفدي، يطعم عن كل يوم مسكينة، وإن كان يعني بمدة بكمية نصف صاع بما يساوي بكيلو ونصف رز أو شيء، كيلو ونصف بكل يوم، معناه 30 يوم يعني يطعم مسكينا 30 مسكين، كل واحد كيلو ونصف من الرز أو ما إلى ذلك. وهذا هو لمن له مرض مزمن ما يبرأ، ما قال لا يبرأ. أما الذي له مرض مؤقت سيبرأ منه، وهذا نادر في مرضى الكلى، لكن قد يكون لو قال الأطباء هذا مؤقت وتبرأ إن شاء الله، فيبقى في ذمته هذا اليوم الذي أفطر فيه، ويبقى في ذمته حتى يبرأ يقضي. So here now the thing is, what about the dialysis patient? First of all, the dialysis patient usually he has a permanent illness. Okay, so the one with a permanent illness, he is not required to fast anyways, as Allah said. If you have a sickness, and if it's a permanent illness, though, he does not even have to make it up. He just feeds a poor person for every day that he missed. So, for example, 30 days. The first day of Ramadan, he knows he has a permanent illness. We'll talk more about this later, but he can just feed 30 poor people, the quantity being about 1.5 kilos, half a saw, a measure which are equivalent to about 1.5 kilos of rice, for each day he missed. So 30 people, he feeds each of them 1.5 kilos, and that's it. He's done. Now, if a person has a temporary illness, then he has to wait. If the doctors tell him it's temporary, then he can break his fast. If the doctors say it's that much, he's going to be harmed by continuing fasting, even if it's a temporary illness. He might be harmed to fast, so he can break his fast, but he has to, in this case, make it up when he is cured from the illness. Okay, but if the doctors tell him if you fast in this condition, you will get more sick, or your cure will be delayed, you'll be harmed in some fashion, then he's excused to not fast in Ramadan, but he makes it up if it's temporary. So the point we're making is that the dialysis, if a person has, say, a temporary illness, okay, in kidney disease, temporary, or permanent. Okay, and the doctors say he has to have dialysis in the day. Okay, dialysis will break his fast, so he's excused from fasting at that time because he has to take this medicine. So he's automatically excused. Break the fast and make it up if this, or don't make it up if you're permanent illness and just feed. So why does dialysis break one's fast? Because basically they take out the blood of the dialysis patient, then they clean it from the waste, and then they put it back in, but with additional items like glucose, sugar, like fluids, uh, like other things which will give him a nourishment, salts even. They will give him nourishment. So the issue is what we said is nourishment in the vein. It breaks his fast. That's what the Lajna Daima, the standing committee, said. So I think so. Once again, the if it's a medicine injection like penicillin and insulin or penicillin or something, or it's but it's not a nourishment, then it does not break one's fast if it's an injection. So what would break the fast if it's a fluid injection, IV fluid, or if it is IV sugar, uh, or something, or IV salts, or something like that, which would provide some nourishment and take the place of food and drink. Then that would break one's fast. And there's some more items that يبقى بعض المسائل الذي يظن البعض أنها تفطر، وإن شاء الله نتعرض لها في الدرس القادم. يعني منها يعني مثلا بلع البلغم. البلغم يعني لم نتحدث عن التقيؤ. هذا يأتي حديث يعني مستقل في مسألة التقيؤ والحجامة، يعني تبرؤ بالدم قياسا على الحجامة، هل فطر أم لا؟ وهذا سنتعرض له لأن هناك أحاديث أوردها الحافظ في هذه المواضيع ويأتي إن شاء الله. So here, so there are other things. We'll stop here, inshallah. But there's other things that we'll mention in the next class, inshallah, that some people think they break their fast. Like a person gathers his spit in his mouth and swallows it. Okay, or he has snot, mucus in his nose or in his throat, and he swallows it. Does it break one's fast? Inshallah, we'll get to that. Hijama, there's hadith about that. It's a difference of opinion, but if we establish that hijama does or does not break one's fast, then we can make qiyas on that donation of blood. Does it break one's fast? We'll talk about that. Throwing up on purpose, does it break one's fast? There's hadith, but there's some talk about whether it's authentic or not. Inshallah, we'll talk about those. But this is basically what we've covered. And of course, jima', a relation with the wife, there's specific. Yeah, brushing the teeth. Yes, some people think brushing the teeth, no, it doesn't break one's fast. Even if a person, like I said, the issue is not the taste. Some people say, I have a taste of toothpaste. Oh no, I broke my. If the taste is not the problem, it is what of substance that goes to the stomach. And a person is not going to swallow toothpaste. If he is, maybe رفع عنه القلم لعله مجنون. المجنون ليس عليه صوم. Yani if he's going to swallow toothpaste, maybe he shouldn't be fasting in the first place. So anyway, we'll stop there inshallah, and then we'll continue next week. كان في الأمر بقية وجزاكم الله خيرا. والآن إن شاء الله يكون عندنا درس في رياض الصالحين على اليوتيوب لمن أراد أن يشارك على سنة صاغة. وبارك الله فيكم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.
بارك الله فيك.
فيكم بارك الله. طيب. تفضل.